always remember when I did not understand how I used to stand under all the fool's rules running these lands. I had my head in the sand and I was asleep. Now I learn a little more every day, and I'm waking the sheep. Gonna say it out loud, say it proud, get it out, 'cause I'm burning inside, cannot hide it no more. I'm a raconteur too. Yeah, I'm a raconteur too. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. All the people in the chat room singing. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. One more time now. Oh, I'm a raconteur too.
Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs Too. It's my name's Jason Holmes, and I'm here reminding you that this world is for everybody and not just for Aid Hardy, who is still apparently on his little holiday away, and I'm sure he'll be back at some point. But I think he's making plans, so don't bank on that. So you're probably going to have to put up with me for an hour on a Monday night for the very near future. Okay, well, listen, tonight we've got a guest on. It's Dave Witcher. I do believe he's just finishing off his tea. Tonight. We're going to have him on for an hour in a little while. In fact, I think he's just turned up. But first of all, I just wanted to apologise for the last couple of weeks. The programmes have been a bit sketchy. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I've been through, in the last 2 weeks, I've been through some quite traumatic times. And an interesting side note to that, as anybody who listens to this show regularly will know that I've got a very serious heart problem, and I have to go and have my blood checked every so often. It depends on how steady it is, but when I went to have my blood checked last week, it was 5 times thinner than it should have been. So it was my INR, as they call it, was 5.0, and it's supposed to be 2.5. Now, the interesting thing is that they took me off some of the drugs that I was on and then wanted me back a couple of days later. Now, I thought it would be just another INR with the nurse who just takes my blood, takes a little bit of my blood and measures it to see how thin it is, and then the computer decides how much warfarin I should take. So it was 5. Anyway, when I went along, I went along on Wednesday last week, and then they asked me to come back on Friday. And when I went back on Friday, it was a doctor I was seeing, which was unusual. I thought was unusual. Now, this is the unusual thing. He'd been told by the nurse that I'd had this particularly traumatic time, and that I was, having certain issues, particularly not so much with my mental health, but I was having issues dealing with things. And the interesting thing the doctor said to me was, the interesting thing the doctor said to me was, have you considered not being here? Which to me sounded like he was saying to myself, have you considered killing yourself? To which I said, for God's sake, absolutely not. Not a chance in hell that I'd ever do anything like that. And then I said the line that I quote when people talk about suicide, and I said, look, suicide doesn't get rid of the pain. What it does is it rolls it up into a grenade and then throws it at your loved ones. So I said, there's absolutely no way that I'm considering doing that, but I just thought it was interesting that it was putting that idea into my head. When it was quite obvious that I was in quite a vulnerable state as well at that particular time. So I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to just mention that. But we've got an hour with Dave Witcher. How you doing, Dave? He's here. You need to turn your mic on, brother. Can't hear you. Yeah. Okay.
Oh
Right.
dear,
There is.
there's always a technical issue with me. There's always a technical issue with me, boys. I do apologise. How are we?
Oh, great. Well, I know we've got loads of people in the chat room that have looking forward to me speaking with you tonight. So what's on your mind? Just give me what's on your radar at the moment. What are you doing? What are you up to?
Oh well, what am I doing? As always, I'm always engaged in arming people with a shield of truth and a sword of truth. I personally, my motto is I just want to empower people, let them understand who they are, the being that they are, and just to manifest that. I'm not, I don't think we can beat this system. I don't think it's a case of beating the system. I think it's a case of making the system work for us and knowing where we want to take an active role in that system. It's such a shame. I mean, Saturday, a big group of people that I've got quite involved with, the Dragons, they use a flag that was Alfred the Great's flag. And there's never been a king called the Great ever since Alfred. Alfred merged all the kingdoms of this country together to come under one flag, and that was basically based on the principles of Christianity. So this group decided on Saturday for the second time to go up to Buckingham Palace, and there was some disabled people there that turned out to come and support. These people are coming from all over the country. One woman spent 600 quid just to come up and stay for 2 days in a hotel. So, I mean, this is costing some people. So they want to go and do it. However, the Metropolitan Police decided to use a mounted constable on the back of a horse. Now, you're talking to a man that has horses. I have horses here. They're out the back. And this constable made this horse barge into the disabled people. I can't bring myself to even contemplate what must be going through these people's minds to make them want to do that. It's an animalistic situation, and I don't want to partake in that. So for me, I'm a bit of a light bearer. I'm someone that just wants to empower people, guys. Really, in all fairness.
And you do a lot of live videos online. I noticed that you'd done. I did try to see if we could get her on as well. Cassie Crowhurst. I noticed you've been doing a lot of videos with her and chats with her as well. So what are they all about? Because I know that you're a Christian, aren't you?
Pardon?
You're a Christian.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. So I've watched a few of Cassie's videos, but to be fair, I mean, she does quite a lot all the time. So is she sort of on the same level?
I bumped sort of come across Cassie probably about last year, because I'm absolutely terrible with time, guys, to be fair. But I see Cassie pop up on the screen, and I went, well, hello. This is someone new on the block, someone that's taken the bull by the horns. Cassie's a married woman with a couple of kids, beautiful looking woman too. She radiates. You can just feel the energy coming from her. I've not met her as of yet, but Cassie actually only lives about 25 minutes from me. She's nice and close. So I started stumbling across her stuff. She stumbled across mine. We do a little bit of collaboration from time to time. And she's someone that just one day saw that things weren't quite right and things needed to fix up and be fixed and, fall into line. So I'm hoping to meet up with her soon. Sorry, guys, I've just got up my dinner down so I could be here for 7. And but she's got a certain frequency to her, a certain vibration. I mean, you said, David, you're a Christian boy, and I am, absolutely through and through. And that gives me the courage to do what I'm doing, because England is a Christian nation. It's something that was was based, which we decided that we would all live by that. And it's good law. Christian law is good law. However, what I see in this country is many people professing to be Christians, but they don't fully understand the word of love thy neighbour, don't covet thy neighbour's house. It says in the book, it says, if you take your brother's blood, I will require it of you. Now, it says on the very last page of that book, and I don't come on here to talk about the Bible in as much. That's a personal journey for me.
Yeah.
And I think the Bible should be a personal journey for everyone that decides to pick it up and live by it. But it does say on that last page that if you don't live by that book, that your part of the book of life will be taken away. Now, ever since I was a kid, I've always been spiritually aligned, always been fascinated in stuff that a lot of people can't even comprehend. And I don't want my part to be taken out of the book of life. I actually want to be one of the souls that actually makes it and gets to a higher level of consciousness, vibration, whatever it is you want to call it.
So you wouldn't criticise somebody that doesn't adhere to an organised religion. You wouldn't criticise it. You think that's a very personal thing that each individual person needs to accommodate with their own conscience and their own soul.
Absolutely.
You don't need.
I wouldn't inflict my will or my wishes on anyone, because that would make me a tyrant. The word of God is very specific in what it says. However, if other people choose not to do the word and do the will, that's up to them. I'm someone that does the word and does the will, because it says in there, it says it's no good just partaking in the word. You have to do the will in your everyday activities. So if by me standing up for other men and women that are being bullied for no reason, in essence, and I can put something into them that they maybe have been lacking over a long period of time, and give them that energy and that courageousness to put the shield on and say, actually, no, this is, for all intents and purposes, if you want to get a bit biblical, it is God's kingdom. And everything in it, including us, is owned by the Creator. There is no bike, no gym facilities that can be owned by any one of us. We cannot own a single thing, but we can use things to get through and manifest through life. So that's why I'm a bit pissed off, excuse my French, with the gatekeepers, because the people that are supposed to be governing actually sit in a building called Parliament. And in Parliament, there's a building underneath it called St Mary's Undercroft. And in that building is an original version of the 1611 King James Version Bible. And somewhere in that temple, I've not been there yet, but I do plan to go, is an inscription from Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. Now, if any of you boys can get that up on your computer and you want to give me the chapter and verse, I can grab mine now. It will tell you and that chapter and verse is very powerful, very powerful. Now, I've found my own personal experiences through life for the last 7 years that whenever I've been accosted by hierarchy, people sending letters to me, I've used that and it's kept me properly safe. And that's really all I want to say on it.
Well, that's fair enough. It's absolutely fair enough. I mean, people have their own journeys and people have their own belief systems, and everyone's entitled to believe whatever they want. And you and me believe in completely different things. I mean, I believe in a creator. I don't believe in organised religion, but I do believe that there's a creator, and that creator force it works through me. I actually believe that. I think that the times, because I know that the times that I've been in, when I've been at my lowest, you know, when you're on a theatre table, you're having a heart attack, and someone's putting something up your arm, and I was there and I felt somebody rubbing my head. Now there were nobody there rubbing my head, but there was somebody rubbing my head and comforting me. So I absolutely believe in some sort of creator, but not necessarily. I don't necessarily subscribe to an organized religion. So I think that's something that's individual to everyone.
That's basically where I come from. In as much as I thrive on spirituality, something is a driving force within me that gives me the energy and the compunction to do what I do. And I liken it to like a little Ready Brek glow. Do you remember the glow you used to get around a kid in the advert on the Ready Brek, where his mate was getting soaked and he was all cold, but this kid was in that bubble? Now, that is my spiritual bubble. If as also, when you have open eyes through spirituality, in believing in the creator and knowing that you are the creator, this is the difference. We are all creators, and we can all manifest our own realities. We have to believe in it, and we have to trust in it. And once you do that, if you do read that book, certain things and certain words will mean so much. You'll see the truth in it. Whereas I personally think that religion, church, etc., is a dogma. It is a condition. It's something to hold you down. But only when you look at it with clear eyes and clear understanding in truth and knowledge will it actually mean something to you. If anyone found Joshua chapter 1 verse 8, that is what Parliament gives. That's actually what. So if they believe that book is giving them power to govern you, but you use that book back on them and says, well, hang on a minute, this says that says that. I'm telling you now that I was created by the divine. God has given me the power to manifest and to be here right now. Not you. Do you have a claim over me? What's going on here? I've never seen people run so fast. It is like, it does say in the Bible that when you speak the word, it is like a dagger in the hearts of the people that are coming at you. They will run. There's nothing more powerful than knowing who you are. Absolutely. And we all, it's all a lack of knowledge. We're in this mess because we suffer from lack of knowledge. And if we all knew what this country was, what it's based upon, who the Queen really is, who we really are, we wouldn't be in half this mess. But we're in a mess. But we need to get out of it. And I think that the divinity in humanity is now coming forward, and we're seeing in so much that's going on. You know, I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, the Football Lads Alliance come together, and they manifested 75,000 people to meet in London. They come from all over the country, but you had local London teams like Millwall, West Ham, Fulham, all these teams that normally can't stand each other, come together and put aside all their differences, all the tribalism, all the infighting, all the murders that have gone on over the years, you know, put all that by the side to come together for their country. And now if they can do that, anything's possible. And when I see that, I was like, because I was actually in Downing Street at the time, and I was there with a couple of friends, and they were recording stuff. And we just see this big armada of men and women coming down, all smiling, happy-go-lucky, chatting with a few beers in their hand. And I'm like, wow, things are changing in this country fast. I don't know if you guys are aware. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, you know, I noticed the football lads all got together, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. But it did remind me of the problem is with it is there isn't a problem with it, because when you get all these people might equate that to like a far right thing, you know, a nationalistic. They may do. The difference was there was no counter demonstration, because they knew the people at Antifa and all these anti-fascist just nut jobs knew that they've got no chance against the bunch of football supporters. They've got no to come. They might as well just not turn up, which is what they did. So some people do see that as far right, don't they? And this is not me. This is me trying to play devil's advocate.
Is far right? If I'm going to talk politics, which I properly hate talking politics because I think that men and women are above politics. Politics is a state of mind. I don't believe in politicians. I've got no time for politicians because, to be truthful, there's not any that's ever done any good by any of us. And when we understand that they're all corporations, from the government to all the ministers to the police to the courts, all corporations running for profit, I need really not touch and say any more on that subject. But they can only have my energy if I'm prepared to give it to them. I call them energy vampires, so I don't give it. We talk about far right and far left. Personally, I think the left, the liberalism, with how that's gone down over the last few years, is actually more fascist and dangerous.
Of course it is, yeah.
If you want to call a group of people far right. I normally see people that you would label, and labels are very dangerous, as a far right individual. I see a lot of them actually just standing up for themselves and exercising, dare I say it, common sense. But that's dangerous, apparently.
But you see that's the problem we've got. We've got this labelling system where the news, particularly BBC, will label a group of football fans that are meeting up and saying we want to stop this Islamic terrorism, which for me is bollocks anyway, because there isn't any Islamic terrorism. But the BBC will label them far right. They will do that because the majority are white. So how do we counter that? How do we, just say, excuse me, but these people have a right to gather. They have a right to public congress to make their feelings known, and no matter what you decide that their views are, because let's face it, the BBC don't know what these people's views are. All they do is they just bang a label on it, and just that's it. Then that's what they are forever, far right.
First of all, the BBC didn't even show up. I wasn't there marching with the FLA. I was there on a completely separate issue. However, the BBC weren't there. They made no contribution whatsoever in even trying to put it out. So they're scared. And that's a scared group of people. To me, the BBC is nothing but than a propaganda machine in any case. It lost any integrity that probably anyone ever had for it a long, long, long time ago. It's just an instrument of government. And that's what it is. The BBC, they're too scared. They could have been there that day, and they were phoned up. They said, "Well, where are you? Why are you not coming down and videoing Tommy Robinson and Phil Campion, this SAS guy?" Who I'm really don't know too much about Phil, but to me, anyone in the SAS that comes out and exposes themselves it's not right, because the SAS.
Listen, he wasn't in the SAS. Believe me. If he wasn't in the SAS, believe me. If he's out now, he wasn't in the SAS.
Anyone in the SAS, it's in the SAS's oath not to expose themselves. And the SAS, when they actually leave the SAS, are called Humphreys. And when we had the milk advert years ago, when it used to say, watch out, there's a Humphrey about, that was them letting you know that's the ex-SAS that are on the streets watching everything that goes on. I don't think anyone in the SAS serving or ex would come out like that and expose themselves like that. I'm dubious about that.
I know they wouldn't do that. Listen, Dave. No. I want to just jump in here because I've got personal experience. I know that they wouldn't. I know for a fact. You say you don't think they would. I know for a fact that they wouldn't, because they would. They would. Well, for a start, they're endangering themselves. There's the SAS got into a lot of different bad things in Northern Ireland, and there are still bad people in Northern Ireland in the IRA, real IRA, continuality IRA. There are still people. So I know that nobody who was actually SAS would be coming out like that. That's what I know.
Yeah, if I was SAS and I was going to go to places like that, I would take a canister of helium with me, so I sounded like whoever, and I would wear a balaclava like the anti-terrorist when he does his YouTube videos. I would talk with a balaclava on. I think that's highly amusing, the anti-terrorist. And if anyone's not heard of the anti-terrorist, he's well worth researching. He's fantastic on YouTube. His stuff is right on point. But getting back to the initial question, the BBC, they didn't rock up. They're not interested. They're too scared. And for me, it doesn't matter if it's the FLA, whatever they want to call themselves. When you've got people come together like that, and the ethos is remain peaceful, let's stand up for the country and stand up for the people. We've always got a fighting chance. I'll give you a little instance which just happened locally to me in a little group that I'm on Facebook, my little village. There's some individuals on there that have been having some problems with youth coming up and making loads of noise, drinking vodka and doing all this funny stuff. And they've actually phoned the police several times. The police ain't come out and done nothing. They're not interested. They won't turn up.
No money in it for them.
I just think we're in some savage times. Pardon?
There's no money in it for them. They're not. If the police only ever turn up when they're going to enforce some corporate decision that's been placed upon you. Like myself, I know if anybody's not seen my video from a couple of years ago when the police smashed their way into my house so that the British Gas could change my meter. If you look on YouTube and you do a search for South Yorkshire Police Criminal Gang, you'll be able to find it on there. There's no money in it. In going and dispersing gangs of group kids that are drinking vodka, that are causing antisocial problems in an area. There's no money in that for them, so they'll ignore that. But then they'll go along to assist some corporate group to gain access to their house. And that's what
I'm doing next week. I'm just on the security point of view and on that topic. I've just been on eBay, and what I'm going to be doing next week is I've got 2 Taliban flags coming and a couple of ISIS ones. I've got a burqa coming, and I'm going to put them up in the front garden and the back garden, and then I know that the police and GCHQ will watch my property for me 24 hours a day, 365. So, yeah, and you're a horse owner as well, which that's what we've got in common. I've got a horse as well, a big white one called Blue, an ex-show jumping horse that we rescued. This copper, right? It goes. Oh, it's the horse banging into these people. Did he say? And we went, look, that horse. Its nature is to avoid conflict. You're making that horse do that. Don't tell us that horse is going in there of its own free will. You're abusing something in nature and making it do your dirty work. Dirty, excuse my French, they're dirty bastards. I hate it. Excuse my French, sorry about that.
That's okay. You can use as much French as you want on Raconteurs Too. Just a quick reminder, everybody, you're listening to Raconteurs Too. I'm Jason Holmes. I'm here having a great chat with Dave Witcher. We're going to be for the next half hour, and perhaps a little bit more if we. If we go over, we've got plenty of time. We've not got an end point, shall we say? We're aiming for 8 o'clock, but if we go over, it's not going to be a huge problem. So, right, well, where do you want to go next?
Me? I can talk about pretty much any subject. I would like to say, if there's anyone tuning in for the first time and they're interested in finding their true self and finding out what's going on in the world, go watch a video by John Harris on YouTube called Just an Illusion. You'll find John is, well, he's sadly no longer with us, but he's a carpenter. He keeps it real. And he decided many years ago that he wouldn't accept the normal way things are, and he would question everything. And the actual series of Just an Illusion, a carpenter's point of view, is what started me on my road. And I have to say that self-empowerment and understanding true self is probably one of the greatest gifts that you can ever come to terms with in this universe, because it is such a warm feeling of knowing that you have no masters. And this is something that I use all the time. You know, I'm always, anyone comes to me, I say, well, who are you? Sorry, I don't have any masters. If I do, and you're presuming to have some kind of interest in my life, my private equity, then you're going to have to put your cards on the table pretty quick. I've never, with such few words, seen people run so fast. And I'm watched. I'm a watched individual, but I don't care. Am I far right? No, I'm a man. I'm a man that's fed up with living in a country that's run by paedophiles. And I just can't believe that everyone just accepts it. And it's like ant syndrome. You know, you get ants, colonies of ants, and all of a sudden, these big colonies of ants, someone comes along and squashes, I don't know, a couple of 100,000 of them with their boot. They stand on them. And all the other ants around, they freeze. They go, oh, I'm still alive. Little bit of shock to start with. And then they just go about their business. And this is what we've got in this country. We've had, this year alone, Westminster Bridge attack, Manchester attacks, we've had Grenfell Towers, all been in the news and super hyping all the fear up. And that's another thing I want to say, guys. Don't live in fear. The best thing I ever did was stop reading newspapers, stop watching the news on the telly, and only ever watch things that really I found that I had an interest in. It kind of took me out of that reading the fear, that perpetual fear. And I don't want to live in a world or a country that runs on adrenaline full of fear. I want to live in a country where everyone holds their head high, lives in peace. It might be a pipe dream, it might be a nonsensical dream. However, it's a dream that I'm passionate about. I'm fed up with the death, the destruction, the evilness that goes on. And one thing I will make sure that happens in my lifetime is I'm going to purge evil from this country. I'm coming together with the people. I'm getting rid of the evil. The evil's got to go.
Dave, I just want to take you let's just take you back a little bit. You started talking about John Harris. Now, I've seen the video that you're referring to, John Harris. It's an illusion. It was one of the first videos that I sent. In fact, I sent AD away to watch that when he were first waking up, and AD went just like from just being a normal guy to that just thought the same thoughts that everyone else thinks. And I chipped away at him for a long, long time. And John Harris was one of the first individuals that he watched, and it's all started to click. But John Harris is also a little bit of a. We know what happened with John Harris. He's also he's got some. His information was great and superb. And watching him back all these years later, the stuff that he's saying now is still pertinent. Sorry, what we were saying like in 2008 or 2009 is still pertinent today. But the John Harris story itself, it's quite a tragic story, isn't it? And it's perhaps a little bit of a warning for people to not get in, like I was talking about at the beginning of the show when I told you about the doctor asking me if I'd considered not being here anymore, which I took to mean have you considered committing suicide. And I think that when you get a complex character like John, And if you're that complex character as well, you really have to keep a rein on yourself as well, because it doesn't take. It only takes like a moment of madness, and then you've done something really, really stupid. Which I've got to say, John did. You know, committing suicide. John committed suicide, and that moment of madness. So what we have to do is we have to. Sorry, I should get your guest. I should get your quality. But you know, you have to look after yourself as well, don't you? Otherwise, you're going down a path which ultimately is going to end in your demise, and that's not going to do any good to anybody.
No, that's a tough one to talk about, in fairness. My personal opinions is, and my energy, I'm probably wrong. There's a good chance that I am wrong, but I personally don't think that John's dead. I always remember him saying that because of what he'd done, that he had to commit internet suicide, and them words really stood out for me. And I'm like, okay. He went down to St Anne's or wherever it was, and he was claiming to be the King of England, and that's why he'd done it. He'd done it because he was fed up with the limelight and the stuff that was coming to his front door through what he was doing, because he was the pioneer, really. He was the one that laid the seeds. And I can never remember, stumbling across it. And I watched it once. I was like, what? This can't be true. And I watched it again and again, and it started sinking in. So is John dead? I don't know.
So you don't think he's dead?
Categorically confirmed.
That's an interesting angle on that you don't think he's dead, because we've had on Raconteurs News and Raconteurs Too, we've had Chris Spivey on who has similar sort of views on that. So you actually don't think you don't think he's dead? Do you think he's just retired his persona?
Yeah, he just went off the radar, and I don't blame him. I've been tempted to do quite a bit of that myself, but I've always gone along this. I don't even know how I would take it, actually. If someone from the state ever come round to my domain and said, "Wind your neck in, otherwise bad things will happen to you," I honestly think, seeing as we're kind of not on mainstream telly, my attitude would be to them, I would tell them to go and fuck themselves. I'm the master, and I'm steering my vessel. And if I feel that I've got something to offer humanity to make it a better place, to make it fairer, to level the playing field, I don't give a fuck what they want to do to me. I'll take my chances, but I'm certainly not going to bow down to any of these idiots, because they're peddling evil.
Do you think that's what John did? Do you think that's what John did? Do you think someone went round to John and said, "Listen, you need to retire this"?
I'm not going to make speculation of what happened to John. I just had a feeling when I actually sat down and closed my mind and just had a little contemplation on what I'd known of John. And I never met him, actually. It's one of the saddest things, and maybe one day I will do. I don't know. But I just had this feeling that come over me, and I was thinking, I don't know, I've just watched his stuff, and I watched what he did at Penzance, and I remember him saying quite clearly, "I've got to commit internet suicide." And he kept reiterating them words, and I thought, you clever bastard. And I don't blame him. I could do the same today. I could quite happily say, right, not too many people know where I live, not as though I'm bothered about that. But I quite say I'm going to commit suicide and just say, "Oh, Dave's killed himself." How many people would actually take the time to come around and find out to see whether I was alive or dead or not? They wouldn't.
I think there would be enough.
I don't think it's
I do think there would be enough people that would look into it and find out whether it was a fact or not. But again, if he's been asked to commit suicide, internet suicide, like he said, if he's been asked or he's been ordered to commit internet suicide, then there's no way we're going to find out, because the official paperwork's all going to be there.
If anyone ever come round to my house, I think back in the day that John was, he kind of set the bar. He put precedent out there. He put his neck on the chopping block. Personally, nowadays, I think there's too many people that have followed in what John's laid down to actually deal with. And I would never ever commit suicide. I would never take my own life. I'm not that strong. So if ever I got found swinging from a tree or in a bed with a load of pigs being chewed, it would never be of my own demise. It would be something that someone's come and done to me. But no one's ever come round and fired any warning shots at me saying, wind your neck in, what you're doing's out of order. I did sit next to a geezer, actually, funny enough, last year up at London. He'd come to one of the talks that we did round at Dalston, and there was about 100 people there, and he come up and sat at the back. There was like little chaise long things at the back, and he come and sat up there, and I was chatting away, and I said, well, what do you do? He said, I've just left MI6, and I was like, right. And he said, so you're Dave Witcher? I was like, yeah, why? I'm not going to hide. I'm not one that's going to hide behind a pseudonym. I'm not one that's going to hide behind a false profile or a false name. I'm real. And if people can't handle that, that's not my problem. But I said to him, I said, am I ever going to wake up in a body bag? He went, nah. He said, to be truthful, Dave, he said, we do watch people like you. He said, but in the background and deep down, we all want more people like you because we don't like what we're having to do. And we know that within the system, things need to change, but we can't change it. Even the police, I get police come to me and say, Dave, we think what you're doing's good because we need the people to make things happen. And they're not, a copper's caught in the system as much as everyone else. He's a man or a woman that's gone into a job that they thought they was going to be doing right by the people, and swiftly find they're just doing a job that pays the bills. They're paying mortgages. They're paying bills. And everyone in the army as well, you see. It's not Queen or country
the debt
anymore.
trap,
it's about going and paying mortgages. So it's savage. It's savage. The corporations have smashed everybody. The judiciary.
Anyway, listen, we've got a couple of comments we've got loads of comments in the chat room, but Andy, my producer tonight, thanks Andy Young, he's just put a few of them in the Skype chat. We've got Anon 0843 saying great show. And somebody else pointing out that John's last interview was with Graham Hart, who was on Raconteurs News last week. So we had him on last week. Somebody put we would, Dave, but we're always busy checking Jason is still alive. I think that's a referral to yeah, they're always checking on me. Such of better friends because they're always checking on me to make sure I'm okay and everything. They know that the crap that I've been through this last couple of weeks. Well, we've got about 15 minutes left. We can go. What? Sorry. Go on. What were you saying?
I said it might be pertinent to mention that everyone, 99% of the people of this country have to put food on the table. They have to go to work. They have to get out of bed. They have to go and work for this fiat currency that's imploding. No different from a shopkeeper, a copper, someone in the NHS, someone in the fire brigade. They're all going to put these silver nuggets on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the police are doing. However, the thing I have with the police is I have to question the moral side of what they do. That's all. I question why they do to people what they do so they can pick up their 30 silver pieces. And to me, it reminds me of the Judas story. It's such a shame when we're in this situation. It's a hellhole. Not for everyone. There's a lot of people out there that say, I mean, my life's pretty good, to be fair. I've got nice things. I don't want for nothing. life's been very kind to me. The universe has been very kind. I've asked for the universe to give it to me, and trust me, it's properly manifested.
And that's the
I'm very, very,
listen,
very happy.
Dave, that's the thing as well. Is it's not because this whole movement and all these people that are posting online and putting these things up, a great correlation between them is they're all on their arses, and then there's people like you and I listen. I just do this radio show. That's all I do, and I try to post things online. But I'm in the same position as you. I'm comfortable. I've got everything that I need. I'm not doing this because for myself. I'm doing this because there are other people. I care about other people, and I get that coming from you in spades. Oh, and you've frozen up a bit, Dave. Are you there?
I'm an empath.
All right, I think we've just lost you momentarily there, Dave. I don't know if you remember what I was saying, but are you still there?
Yeah, no,
okay,
what
we're going to do is we're going to disconnect and we're going to reconnect to you, Dave. We're going to disconnect and reconnect to you, Dave, because we seem to have lost the line. It's all gone all tits up and everything. So we'll disconnect and reconnect to you, and we'll be back in just a couple of seconds. If you've got a record anywhere like. And we're back on Raconteurs News. Are you there, Dave? Oh, here we go. Not quite there. He will be in a second. How you doing, Dave? Are you all right, mate?
Yeah, not too bad.
Okay. I don't know if you can remember the last question I asked you, because I can't. But if you want to answer it, then go ahead. We've got you back on.
Yeah, the answer to your question is like I could quite happily, well, not happily, but I could quite easily never do any more videos, never help anyone else again. Any phone calls people want, I could ignore, but I choose not to. I engage with people, and I'm an empath. I'll give you a little example of how simple things have become, really, in fairness. I had a woman about a month ago. She said to me, she said, Dave, I've got a friend of mine who's been bashed over the head by a bailiff. He wants 800 odd quid. She's a single mum. She lives on her own. She's got a young kiddie, stressed out beyond belief. So I said, righto. I said, just get her to message me. Just send me some stuff. And so she's come on, and I said to her, well, what's the problem? And she said, well, they want 860 odd quid. And I went, well, what's it for? She said, well, they dug up this parking ticket or something from about 4 years ago. And now with bailiff fees and that, we're at 860 odd quid. So I said, so this is something that the council has initiated. This is a council issue. She said, yeah. I said, righto. So I just got her email. I sent her some documents. And the very same day of her being in fear of the council, she's got a woman from the council, and she can hear the woman in the council's voice trembling. And she goes, why have you named me? Why have you sent me this email? What are you doing this to me for? And she went, well, hang on a minute. You're causing me mayhem. You're stressing me out. I've got young kids here. I'm vulnerable. So this woman in the council's gone, well, what do you want me to do? She said, you're going to have to let me know. She said, I want it dealt with. Within 2 hours later, an hour or two later, this woman from the council's phoned back up. And she said, it's all sorted. It's all 000. She went, so that's it. It's all done with. She said, yeah. She said, right, I want it in writing. And the woman's going, well, what do you want it in writing for? She said, I want it in writing. So the council wrote to her and said, so from 861 quid and bailiff's kicking the door down, within 4 hours, we got it to nothing, and the council's yielded and jumped back in its box. And that's all we've got to do with Pandora, is put it back in its box. They're our servants. They are not our masters.
That
They
seems
like
to be
to
something
think
that
they're
they've forgotten, though,
involved
isn't
in
it?
marketing.
It seems to be something that they've forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, the police, they're our servants. I used to have a line where when a copper spoke to me in a bad way, I'd say, listen, you're a public servant. I'm a member of the public, and I don't allow my servants to talk to me like that. And it winds them up because they've been indoctrinated the opposite way around. They're not serving the public. What they're doing is they're persecuting the public.
Well, I mean, when we look into the origination of bailiffs and the police and sheriffs, etc., 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 it all come about from a time period where people used to take it into their own hands, and they would settle justice, or whatever you want to call it, locally within their little communities. If something come out, a little grievance, they'd get it all sorted out. A lot of times it was murdering each other. It was dueling and getting all physical and getting right roughy tufty. But then after a while, their consciences and their ethos was, well, let's actually put a group of people together. We'll call them servants, and we'll let them do our stuff. So if someone comes and nicks our fridge freezer, we'll get them to go and take it, go and find who's got it and get it back. That's where we placed our trust in the servitude side of things. And the servants were very grateful for doing this job. But over periods of time, and quite a long period of time, we've now gone from a servitude point of view, where they will go and help little old dear over the road, carry her shopping home, make sure she gets home all right, looking after kids, making sure kids get home and they're not being abused. But we've now come to this situation where their master, they truly, I'm going to put my jacket on, I'm getting a bit cold, they truly believe that they are master and that we are owned by them. But let me tell you something now, right? They are living in a falsehood, because if they think for 1 minute that they're going to boss 65 million people in this country into submission and carry on down the road that they're going down, they are in for a big surprise.
Do you think that? Do you genuinely believe that? Because we've had so many. There have been so many things, but then we get distracted away from them. You know, like Brexit for a start, right? We were told that it was Brexit meant Brexit, and then as soon as it goes the way that they don't want it to go, it's delay. It's like, well, people didn't know what they were voting for, whereas it had been set out in front of them. You see, things like that. I mean, I would have thought that the will of the people not being adhered to in the way that it's not at the moment. It's just been discarded. I would have thought that people would have and done something by now. So what is it actually going to take before people do something?
I mean that the answer to that question is, I think that's in the hands of humanity. Personally, that will come down to the will of the people. But I would suggest that when normal everyday English people, or just people in this country, I'm not, you know, and I don't think it. If you live in England, you're English. It's not a word that I'm going to shy away from. You know, this is England. We've got an England football team. We've got a monarchy. We've got a queen.
We shouldn't anyway.
There's 1/3 of this
away from
world.
that. That's our culture. That's our heritage.
Yeah. There's 1/3 of the world that live by a common law jurisdiction, which was something that we created because we liked fairness and just and liberty. But that has I don't think there's any liberty out there. I don't think there's anything. A copper's now only got to have an inkling, and he's got the cuffs on you. He's taking you down the cells. Lord, no, I mean, in Tunbridge police station, they've just had a couple of weeks ago a guy die in custody, been found dead in a cell. What officer is going to go to prison for that? What officer is going to go on and have to stand up? It's a farce. We're in a tyranny. We're actually right now, and this Brexit is just a political coup. It's all of it. The whole political theatre, the whole political spectrum is a Pied Piper, is leading everyone down the jetty, and everyone's going to fall in the river, all while he's playing that fiddle. Because if you look at it, let's take Nigel Farage as an instance. Nigel Farage, he managed to muster something in this country, a little bit of the spirit, a little bit of fighting spirit. Call it Churchill if you like. Churchill was a Jesuit, I don't know, whatever. But he managed to get people like to start thinking about things. And then at the pinnacle of his career, after 25 years of campaigning that he wants his country back, he disappears. And he goes, well, my time's best served as an MEP in Brussels. Sorry, Nige. You've
Yeah, this is what you
you're
wanted.
a coward.
This is what you wanted, and now you've got
He's not
away from it.
He's not seen the job through. And they're now saying UKIP are saying, I was chatting with UKIP the other day, saying, oh, we've got a new leader. He's going. I'm like, sorry, guys. No, it's not happening. So Brexit for me is an oxymoron. It won't never happen. My son-in-law is off to Estonia very soon, and he's in the Royal Engineers, and the British Army are bolstering up a front in Estonia. So why would we be sending troops to fucking Estonia when we're coming out of Europe? Not a chance, mate. And I'll tell you something now. You'll be given the illusion that Brexit's happened, but unless you see the repeal or the voiding of the European Communities Act of 1972, ain't happening. That needs to be stripped straight off the statute book. And also, hang on, yeah, so get rid of the ECA, and we've just got to cut all ties with, because it's the European Union we signed up for. Bearing in mind, the Prime Minister at the time, Edward Heath, is this all coming out now that he was a serial paedophile? They must have had something over him to make him commit an act of treason, because that's what he did. We're going to be truthful. He committed an act of treason against the people of this country, and he sold them a dummy. But he sold it. It was sold on the premise that it would be a trading arrangement.
Yeah, the common market.
We quickly see. Yeah, we quickly see that it was about politics and having their laws, these European laws on this soil. And if we ever think that that's not going to happen, Europe's talons are firmly in this country, and they are not. They've come thus far. They've spent 40 years in trying to achieve this totalitarian dream. And if you think they're going to give up now, not a chance, man.
Well,
not a chance. And yeah,
I'm sorry, Dave. But I'm sorry, Dave. But I just want to interject there. I think you're about the same age as me. I'm 47. I don't know how old you are, and I don't want to, I don't want to embarrass you and ask you how old you are. But I think you're around about the same age as me.
I'm 50.
But
I'm 50.
You're 50. Okay. So you're a bit older than me then. Better looking, and you've still got your hair and everything, which is unlike me. But going back to the original question, you know how we were talking about Brexit, and because I thought, and I had hope that would be the tipping point, that they would try to stop us from exiting the European Union. I thought it would be the tipping point where people would realise that democracy is just two sheep and a wolf deciding who's for dinner. Two wolves and a sheep deciding who's for dinner. That's democracy, voting on who's for dinner. So what do you think it's actually going to take? Because we're getting these things around the world now. We had the Trump thing in America. And it doesn't matter what you think about Trump. That was a surprise for everybody. We've got the unrest in Catalonia as well, between Spain and Catalonia. I mean, they've come out, and it just seems that what point do we all just go, right, we're not having this anymore? Because it seems that we get pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and each individual case, like Brexit, like this thing in Catalonia, like the Trump issue. I mean, no matter what you think about Trump, he's divisive in that country. And no matter what you think about him, I mean, personally, I haven't got an opinion because it's not my country, but he's divisive. What do you think it will actually take before people take that step, take that action? I'm sorry. I just want to add another thing, right? We are provably ruled by people that like to hurt children. Provably, we are governed by people that want to hurt children. When is the line in the sand where people will say that's enough? Because for me, it just seems that we're being bent over and screwed.
When will it happen? When disparity, I think, evidence, when it all comes out. I mean, for me, I don't just want dead superstars or whatever you want to call them, TV people like Jimmy Savile and Prime Ministers like Edward Heath. I'm not interested in all these dead people. I'm interested in the live ones. Because if we're foolish and naive to think that that's not happening now, and we've got ministers now that are fucking kids, we've got to be off our tits. I'm using a few expletives now, but
that's
to
fine.
me,
it's fine, Dave.
When we as people, when we as a people turn our back on the kids and just accept that there's kids in this country being fucked by dirty old men. The paedophiles that have been stung this weekend by the paedophile groups that I'm involved with puts the hairs on the back of my neck up. We are a sick, depraved people. But not many people like the truth when the truth's served up. They can't, as that scene in A Few Good Men, when Tom Cruise is griddling Jack Nicholson. He goes, "You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." And that's the situation we're in. I personally think that the English, or the people that live in this country now, I don't want to be accused of being whatever, far-right extremist maybe. That's lamentable and laughable. However, I have a funny feeling that it might just be too late. But having said that, we're going to have a go. And push come to shove, I don't care which way it goes, but I think that the people now are starting to go, oh, things ain't quite right. And once they all come together, if they ever do decide to come together, we'll see a change. Absolutely see a change. I can't stress enough how important it is at this precise moment in time to distress the Crown. And that, by I mean, is to distress the Crown is to withhold your taxes, your council taxes, all the energy that you are giving to them, withhold it. Because we can go and demonstrate and remonstrate until the cows come home. But if we're getting on the train and we're paying train fares, we're keeping that going. If we're eating out, we're keeping all them eateries going. If we're paying our council tax, we're keeping all these people in the position that they ought not to be in. So the only way we can bring it down is to distress it, and that is to starve them of the one thing they would die for, and that is money. If you cut the heads off the bank and the corruption in the banking sector, that whole rest of the body of the serpent would fall apart. It's the banks that are responsible for all the messes we're in, and it's only happened because we took our eye off the ball and we stopped questioning. We need to find out who the wizard is, pull back the curtain and say, you're not that scary anymore. And they know we're coming. They know we're coming. They do know
And they're
what's
shitting
coming.
themselves, aren't they? They are shitting themselves. You can tell they're
I
shitting
don't
themselves by the way that they like.
no, and I don't want them. I don't want them to shit
Rapid-
themselves. I really don't. For this simple thing, if we put these people that have been orchestrating this, if we put them in fear and do bad things to them, we're as bad as they are. We have to rise above this. We have to rise above it and say to them, look, just stop it. We know what's going on. We need a change. We're not going to hurt you or harm you, but your time is up. We can't hurt these people. We wouldn't want to, because that would make us as bad as them. It really would.
We've had loads of, as you can imagine, we've had loads of comments in the chat box. I'm just going to read a few out.
Yeah, I've just seen a message pop up there saying that I pay business tax. I don't pay any. I have no dealings with the HMRC.
Bring that up. And we're going to bring that up just in the interest of balance. Whether you pay your tax or not. I mean, if you don't, that's your business anyway. It's nothing to do with anybody else. We've got people saying that they're doing this for the kids. They're looking out for the kids. Heath was recruited at Cambridge by German intelligence. I think that might be what's his face? Oh God, Michael Shrimpton. I think that might be him that's saying that. Yeah, I've had enough, but one man can't stand alone. Somebody else put there, that's a non 0843. Mandy Gold as well. Hiya, Mandy. Well, stop it. Don't bend unless it will lower. I mean, there's just been tons. If you go back through the chat room, I don't know if you've got any more time. I mean, if you just want to spend another 10 minutes with us and go to 1:15. Is that okay for you, Dave?
How long have we been on? I don't know. Time flies for me. I pay no attention to time.
We originally started to do an hour, and now it's 6 minutes past 8. So we've been on an hour and 6 minutes. But you know, I feel that it's going dead. Again, I still don't know. I still don't feel like I've got an answer to the question that I asked you before. What will it take to take us over the line? To say, we get as kids fucked all over the place. We get, you know, I've got this thing that I put on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Beckham Coverup. But I put this thing on Twitter that I don't pay my TV license for the same reason that I don't pay a paedophile to stand in the corner of my room telling me lies. You know, what's it gonna take for us to fuck these fuckers off? Sorry about my language and everything, but we need to fuck these fuckers off. We're allowing these people, do you know, I don't even want to call them people, but these disgusting individuals.
I think we have to become private people again. I think that we have to sit on our own treasures and our own fortunes and stay private. We have to deprive the Crown of anything we can do, and I can only applaud people that have taken it upon their consciousness to deprive the BBC, because as we know, they are buggering children. And if you're sponsoring that, and you all know that Jimmy Savile was a paedophile, but people still pay that, and they only pay it out of fear. Most people pay a TV license because they're worried about someone coming and knocking at their door. When it comes to council tax, the actual amount of collections that they've actually got once they send out liability orders and then put it out to bailiffs is zero, because the council are not allowed to force your home. They can maybe go about other ways and stuff, but I'll tell you something as well. When you start giving it to your council that you're a Christian, that this is God's kingdom, that you're a creation of God and you was born here and you inherited the earth and you inherited everything that was within it, and that they not to covet your house, mate, I've never seen these people run so fast. I mean, they fucking run. Excuse my French. They really don't like that you know that you're a... It actually says, there's a verse in that book that says, and it's the only time that the word free man is ever used in the Bible, and I'm trying to think of the chapter and verse, I will find it. It says that anyone that is called in the name of the Lord is indeed the Lord's free man. And these people run, man. Mandy Gold says that they take 0% from benefits for admin. I mean, cancel Toby. Toby's just done a video. He's walked around Maidstone, and he's gone in and he's covered the old building that was used by the VAT office and some other council buildings that have been privately sold off and turned into flats. Where's the payback to the people? And I've always said that the state it's all in trust, and the state doesn't have anything that it hasn't stolen from the people. It's an institution of theft, and if people can get their head around that and understand that the state is purely an institution of theft, that includes the politicians, the police force, and the courts, they might start getting somewhere. Now, I don't deal with robbers, and that's it. I sit on my equity, and I ask simple questions like, I'm master, who's trying to administrate my worldly affairs? And they don't like it. They run. I'm not having it. They're not administrating my estate, mate. Simple.
And that's...
And they're not going to benefit from it.
And that's endemic in all courts, isn't it? Whether you go for a speeding ticket, council tax, or anything. Listen, can I keep you? Can I keep you till past? I just want to play a record. Okay. I just want to play a record and have a quick comfort break, because we've been on for an hour, and we normally do that after an hour anyway when we do a 2-hour show. But tonight's like we're going to do a 1-hour show, but I think we're going to go up to an hour and a half at least anyway. So I think Andy, have you got a record lined up for us just to play a Heath one or something like that? We'll give it 5 minutes, have a record, have a bit of a comfort break, go and get yourself a drink, Dave, and we'll be back on Raconteurs Too very, very shortly. Thank you very much. We're back with Dave Witcher very soon after this.
Get the wiggies cause I'm off to the hole in the road. I'm walking off school and I'm off to the city, watching telly all night and I'm not looking pretty. See, I got this job downtown, selling knocked off ladies watches for £1. For a really dodgy man that I met in a dodgy cafe. You know, he said to me, the girl who sold these yesterday wasn't selling very carefully. Police came along and took her and all my watches away. So if you see some coppers, you grab my stuff and leg it, boy, right away. I'll be in the cafe. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. It's been a few hours and I haven't sold enough for my bus fare home. Street selling's pretty tough, so I turn on the charm for the lunchtime rush, with a smile and a wiggle on my schoolboy touch. So the charm is working in the underground. There's a crowd of men and women gather round, and the watches they are going, the money is a-flowing. Think I'll take a little extra, stick it in my pocket, spend you later. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. I haven't sold a watch for an hour and I'm dying for a slash. I've had enough of this, so I'm off for a piss. Then a quick walk back round to the cafe, sitting at his table drinking tea, looks at me suspiciously. Then with a glance at the watch he says, how did you do? He paid me a couple of quid, then he said, would you like to come and work another day? I said I'd come back down on Friday, and to that he said okay. So with £2 in my pocket and another 5 in my shoe, I nipped down to Castle Market where a man who looks like Leo Sayer is selling pots with cockles and prawns. You make me feel like dancing. Then off back to dinner on the Wiggers and then home. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield making.
Yeah, Joshua chapter
And
1,
welcome
verse
back
8.
to... all right, Dave. Welcome back to Raconteurs News. We're ready. We're on. We're live back on the channel. As you can see, Dave is chomping at the bit to be able to get into this next thing. Anyway, so it's Raconteurs Too, not Raconteurs News. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm here. I'm Jason Holmes, reminding you that this world is for everybody and not just Aid Hardy or Andy Young. And my guest tonight is Dave Witcher. Dave, how you doing, brother? You were just talking about something before we came back on. Do you want to expand on that?
What? Sorry, remind me, jog my memory.
Well, you were just reading from a book and you were saying...
Yeah, this is something that Parliament have got a King James version 1611, and this is the 1611, and this verse is where Parliament gets its power from. I don't know how I know this. This came to me in a dream the other night, and somewhere in Parliament, this verse, and I know that they've got a 1611 version and a very old one on display. It might even been the one that King James had writ up himself. But this is the chapter and verse, right? It says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. Thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to that which is written therein. Right, so that means that they're supposed to be doing everything that's in this book. For them, that it shall make them and it make their way prosperous, and then they shall have good success. That is a chapter and verse that Parliament, I think, hangs on to give it its supremacy and its sovereignty. Because don't forget, Parliament thinks it's sovereign. Which is buffoonery. If anyone that tunes in, listen to my words, because Parliament can never be sovereign. Parliament is a company. Parliament is a 2D manifestation. It is not, it has no divinity. It's the people of this country that manufacture the sovereignty, because the Queen cannot possess something that you don't. She can't possess
do you think,
that you don't.
Do you think, Dave, and I know we're going to sort of get into the out there area of this interview tonight, but do you believe, because there's such an emphasis on consent, and it seems that consent is the main thing, that if you don't, I know they trick us into consent into things, and we're given closed-ended questions, which when we answer yes, that gives us consent. Do you think that there's some power that consent has, and do you think that that's an outside force from something that belongs on this planet, or something that we understand?
Well, I don't want to get esoterical and go too deep, but I actually think that if we read that book, it tells us who this kingdom belongs to, and has approximately 97% of the souls in his custody. But I don't really want to go into that because I don't want people thinking that we're like lunatics or crazy. But I actually think that this life and this journey is about finding our way home. And that book for me is the book of law. All law comes from that book. Anything that they've statutized, the Constitution, bearing in mind it's all their law, it's not my law. And it says in here that there is actually no men or children, no men or women here either. It says that we are just all children. I picked this up because all the books of law that I've had and read over the past all bring you back to this. They all bring you back to this. So I thought, well, I'm going to use it as a book of law then. So I picked it up and started reading it and started finding the law within it. And I've been pretty damn successful. So, yeah, I don't look at it. I'm not going to sit here and do a sermon or going to profess that I'm on Mount Sinai and giving it all that bollocks, because I'm not. I'm a very down-to-earth, plain-talking man. But that's your shield. If you want to pick up the shield, then it's up to you. A lot of people don't, and they've been turned away from it. But it is the ultimate book of law. It's where the source of all law comes from. So that's what it is. It's a book of law. It's called the Book of Law, but it's Lore because that's how it was originally spelled, not Law. But we're here under grace, by the way. Law is not natural to us. We're here under grace. Remember that old saying, by the grace of God go I? So we're here under grace. And if anyone ever holds my hands or shakes my hands, you should feel my energy come in, and you should feel the warmth and the because I do radiate with a good spirit and a good soul. I can't do anyone any harm. I try to look out for people. This planet is in a mess. This country is in a mess, and the only way we can do it is by using goodness, love, compassion, wisdom, and just smash the system so badly with it that it's got no choice but to yield and come back in tune with it all. Because it's operating in darkness all the time. I personally think that they're operating in a satanic way. Because if they've turned away from that, bear in mind, the Queen said when she was coronated that was the most precious thing the world had ever been afforded, and she swore to keep the lively oracles of that book. So I thought, fuck it, hell, if it's good enough for the Queen, I'm having some of that shit. And it's protected me. I've used it so many times, verse and scripture. I say, who are you people? I don't know you people. I don't understand you. I'm not your creation. I'm a creation of the divine. And no one comes between me and that. And my life has become quite peaceful, quite peaceful. And I just wish other people could feel what I feel. Bliss. I feel blissful. It's good feeling.
And I know you feel, and I don't want to get too deep and too esoterical, like you said before, but it seems like it seems to me like you're in a good place with God, or whoever that might be, whether you believe it's
me
in the Bible or you, or yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're in a good place with God. I just wanted to. I just wanted to sort of try to pin you down on, and I'm not doing it to put you out of your comfort zone. But you know, if you can put so much faith into a book and something that you've read, can you then look in another direction, look at another situation that perhaps this is not a god or somebody that's all good and wants us to to advance, but it's like an experiment, and it's another reality or another. Do you not ever think about that in that way?
Well, I think that Nikola Tesla had it right. I mean, he said, if you ever want to understand the true nature of the universe, think in energy and vibration. That, I think, is what is the true manifestation. I think in any situation...
What do you mean by vibration? Because I hear people like David Icke talking about this vibration. Now, what do you mean by vibration? Is it a physical vibration? Is it something that's indoctrinated into your mind? What is this vibration?
It's the physical and factual vibration that you, I, and Andy vibrate on. That frequency, I think, for our DNA and our human incarnation is, I think it's either 432 hertz or 532 hertz. But if you look into the vibration and the frequency that humanity vibrates on, it will tell you that. Now, I don't need to think that there's an imaginary God, because I personally went through some health issues myself about 8 years ago, and I would have classed myself as not far off of being clinically dead twice. I was having fits and convulsions, and I actually went to the other side briefly, and I had an understanding, and I was given a choice, and that was to change my ways and look at life how I really should ought to be looking at it. And I was given that chance to come back. And when I did come back and it all settled down, I come back and I was filled with this, just like a fire in my belly, like a fire in my heart and soul that I don't suppose any man could switch off. And so that's why I even went to see a spiritualist last October, and she said to me, Dave, she said, you had some really weird stuff going on about 8 years ago, didn't you? I was like, yeah. She said, and what I would like to say also, she said, is you're a very old soul. She said, you've been here lots and lots of times. She said, you could do my job tuning in easy. She said, but you don't want to, do you? I went, no, I've got no interest in it. So she said to me, you've been here, your soul has been here lots of time. You're a very, very old soul. You go back a long way. And that's maybe why I try and offer up different remedies for people and say, well, look, this, what you're living in, isn't natural. It's not natural to man to be living in this way. And we are being persecuted, and it's a financial persecution this way round. And what the people of this country have always been inherently good at doing is they're good at seeing stuff that physically pops up in front of their face. A man with a weapon, a man's coming to beat your ass or nick your stuff, they can see it and they will deal with it. Yeah. But we've never been very clever and very good at using these two lobes. And that's why I like the film Lucy, if anyone ever wanted to kind of understand the way things are. The film Lucy, to me, is an epitome of just where we could be if we used more of our capacity. We use about 30% of our capacity of our brain, but we are programmed, absolutely programmed from the get-go to live in fear. And once we let go of that fear, and once we start aligning with our true self, whether you believe in God, you don't believe, it doesn't matter. Be the creator, be the author, do what feels right within you. Because you know what? I think life creeps up on us in such a way that before we're out, we're probably sat into our 70s and our 80s, sat there just about to die, going to go into a mortuary, lay on one of them trays, and we're going to think to ourselves, what the fuck did I actually do with my life? Was I created? Did I help other people? Or did I just get churned up in the machine and just never really knew who I was? And I went to Mason Hospital about 15 years ago with a friend of mine who was working there, and he said, "Pop in for your sandwiches." And I went in round the back way into the mortuary, and they showed me all the bodies laid in the thingy, all lined up, and I thought, Christ. And I actually stood there and thought, I'm going to make a difference in my life. Not only am I going to make a difference in my life, I'm going to make a difference in lots of other people's lives.
You could try and make a difference in all people's lives. Yeah. We're talking about the spiritual experience. I mean, myself last year, in fact, my wife went out for a night, and I was sat on the settee, and I had a bottle of port. And when she came in, I was sat upright, asleep on the settee. She came in, woke me up, startled me, and I fell over and knocked myself out on the radiator. Now, I have vivid memories of me, because my wife's son, my stepson, I have vivid memories of being stood behind him because there was a woman at the door. When the ambulance came, there was the ambulance. My street's pretty tight. And so if there's an ambulance on it, nobody can get past. And somebody was banging on the door, and I was behind my stepson, right, while I'm being worked on in the other room. I have vivid memories of being stood behind my stepson saying, "Tell her to fuck off. Fucking hell, they're fucking trying to save me in there." And I died twice in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. I died twice. And I had that. I just think that whatever you believe, I think that manifests itself when you're at that particular time, because I absolutely vividly remember being stood behind him, and he's at the door, and there's this woman saying, "Can you move? Can we get this ambulance out of the way? I can't get." And I'm stood behind him, and I'm going, "Tell her to fuck off. Tell her to fuck off." But he couldn't. You know, it's so. Yeah, go on, Dave.
You've got 5 senses. You've got 5 senses. You can hear, see, touch, feel, and smell. Some people have a 6th sense, which means they're tuning in with the vibrational alignment of the universe. For me, that's an encapsulation. That's keeping us back, because once we come out of our body, there's not them limitations. And I would say that we are all souls trapped in this just physical incarnation. We've come to experience, we've come to change. Even down to the fact that this little conversation we're having, you've all chosen to be here at this specific time in humanity to make the change towards this new vibration, this new energy coming. And there's nothing that anyone in the system can do to stop that, because this is a natural progression and time that's coming upon us and it's I would not waste my time and my energy if I didn't think this happens. I know this happens. I know it happens. It's going to happen, guys. Trust me. There's nothing they can do to stop it. It's going to happen. Well,
I tell you what, I've kept you half an hour longer than I anticipated on doing in the first place. But what I want to do is I want to open up the floor. What's your final word on this before we wrap this up, because I've kept you far longer than I needed to. So what's your final word? Let's wrap this up. Let's give some hope to humanity and hope to the people that are listening to what you're saying.
Well, the hope for me comes from, I have a very deep understanding that the information that I was given 7 or 8 years ago via a very small little download while I was having my health issues was genuine. It come from universal sources. And I was given this empowerment in as much as, don't worry about your physical form. Go and be the change you want to see. First of all, change yourself. And then once you've come to that understanding, teach other people how to follow and how to find their true self, find their I am, find their I am that I am, and get back to our true ways and our alignment. You know, we are the only species on this planet that kills for fun. Other species only kill to eat if they are carnivores. But we keep going through this perpetual crap of wars, death, famine, disease. And we can switch that so easily, but we've got to have the will to change it. And we do now find people do have the will to change it. And each individual that's being woken up, that is coming into this different alignment, has been given their download. They've been given, it's their time, it's their place, it's their manifestation. They've got to run with it. Don't be scared of this stuff. There is no boogeyman, and there is no fight in the system. There is only a shift in consciousness. And once you shift from the old and come into the new and truly understand self, properly self, that there is no one but you, you are the master, you are the shit coordinator. That's what we have to do. And when you do that, you'll find that you'll turn your back on the old and walk forward to the new. And you will naturally just gravitate from the old. And it's like Katy Perry's video, Safe Trip Home, where everyone's in that white picket fence. The subliminals in that video, I couldn't believe it. But not many people understand the subliminals given in that Katy Perry video. I see it and I was like, my God, they're basically just chucking it out there now, saying, guys, come on, time to wake up. They're fed up of babysitting humanity. They don't want to do it no more. They're tired. They want us now to take control, take the helm, and go forward. And I tell you something now, it's got my witness.
Are you seeing any tangible change, you know, from people that previously were asleep, shall we say?
Change can be big, change can be small. Change can be something like one day someone gets up and says, I don't pay my TV license no more. Someone can get up and say, I'm going to start growing my own food. Someone can get out of bed and say, I'm going to distill my water today. Someone can get out of bed and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's taking yourself out of your normality and trying something different. This does happen. This will happen. This is a universal awakening. This is universal. There's nothing anyone can do to stop this shift. It is happening now. What can we do to change and give hope? That woman the other day that got 861 quid down to zero and got a cancer on the back foot. That's change right there. You're seeing the change. She's now sat on her equity and she's not being raped by the public servants anymore. So there's so many people doing it. And the system knows it's on an island to nothing. Trust me, it really, that's why it's going so hard after people, because it is now starting to struggle. And John Harris did turn around and say that if you look at the system as a fire and that your money and your energy going into it daily, weekly, monthly, keeps this fire burning. But when we get to a point in time where the system struggles to get that energy, to get that fuel from us, it will just turn into it will have one last ditch attempt at staying alive and it will burn itself out. And I you know what? I think people in the system are starting to fall on their own swords. And it's decaying in front of our very eyes, guys. The paedophile scandals, all this other stuff. We've now got a Metropolitan Police Constable saying, I am going to get to the bottom of this. I am not happy with this. He'll probably lose his job and he'll probably come under immense scrutiny. However, that man's morality has made him go, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Enough is enough, mate.
And we need more of that, don't we?
We've got to purge this country of evil. And the only way we can purge it of evil is to come into the light, come into love, compassion, understanding and wisdom and knowledge. And once we do that, we can go to the fifth dimension. That mean it just means your mind is in a different space, a different place. You are not worried about the old. I'm not worried about the system. I'm not worried about what's coming at me. I went up to Buckingham Palace a couple of weeks ago. Everyone, all the coppers were out. I went over and chatted with them, shook their hands. And these men, when I walked up to them, they're standing there like that to start with. But after me chatting with them for a few seconds, they've opened up. I've touched the man behind the uniform and I'm shaking hands with them all. Now, that's how you break the machine. You fire so much love at it that it can't cope. The machine goes, oh, I don't like it. Because the machine evolves on violence and darkness. And if we all stop playing in that arena and come into something new, I'm a romantic, I guess, you'll see change. And I think people are changing daily, weekly, monthly. So you get all them football boys, 80,000 of them to come together. For Christ's sake, that is unbelievable. From all over the country, hugging each other and saying, we've got to change things, boys. Things ain't right. I'm like, yeah, this is warming up. This is happening. This is happening. So watch this space, guys. But listen, I said to someone the other night, right, because I say, look, it doesn't matter whether this glass is half empty or half full. What matters is that you've got the glass and you can do what you want with it. Think of things in that way. Does it matter if it's half full or half empty? That's a stupid analogy. You've got the glass and you can do what you want with this glass. It's the same with your life. You're the author. You're the author of your life. And I've been this way all my life, ever since through school. I've always been one that questioned and said no. I can remember I just turned 16 and my school teachers were, because I left school for 3 months and they said, well, you've got to come back. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. I said, hang on a minute. Whoa. I said, I can smoke and have sex now. I said, you don't get to tell me what to do. And, they all smiled at me. They thought, well, there's a man with balls. And I've always, if I see 1,000 people walking down, like all over Westminster Bridge going to work, I'm the one walking the other way, mate. I don't want no part of that. Don't want no part of it. I'm a free spirit. I'm, as much as that book, don't get me wrong, I'm not religious. This is a book of law. But I am a spirited individual, so much so that the spirit of it all is deeply ingrained in me. Freedom, liberty, the right just to breathe normal air, to drink good water, and just to eat properly without having all the stresses of life. That's what I'm about. And no one can take that away from you. But we've all become so easily malleable that if someone from the system, if someone's not woke up yet, someone rings up, well, we just dug a bill out, you owe 300 quid. Most people ring up and pay for it straight away. I'm like, whoa. Hang on a minute. Who are you? What do you want? What are you doing coming into my private life? You've got no right to administrate my equity. And I've never seen people run so fast. They've got to get out of there because they can't handle that truth. They know they're operating in fraud, but so many people don't understand that. And we do suffer through lack of knowledge. If people truly understood who they were, understood some good, John Harris said, if you haven't got the foundations right, the building will fall over. Mm-hmm. So you have to start with good foundations. And I say, don't take my word for nothing. Go and do your own research. Go and find your own truth. My truth's my truth. Your truth will be your own truth.
Well, we've had tons and tons of messages in the chat room. We've got Tobe Hayden is in there. Mandy Gold is in there as well. She's saying it's still... well, in fact, it's just people go to the chat room. They'll be able to see what is going on. Right. Well, we're already 45 minutes over So what I want to do is I want to get you to tell people where they can find you, where they can find your work, and what are the things that you're up to.
Well, I mean, most people have got me on Facebook. I've got about 14,000 people on Facebook. I've got a little Twitter account. Most people just stumble across my stuff. And that's another thing. I think people that ring me or people that I communicate with, we do it when it needs to happen. That's what the universe does. People find me when they need to find me, or I find people when I need to find people. That's what the truth and what the universe does. Tobe Hayden, lovely fella, love Tobe to bits. He just said that all the police have been dehumanised. The old school ones are only looking for their retirement days, as they've had enough from what they've been told. Well, I was working today in a couple's house. I'm doing a wet room for someone at the minute, and he's going to be 76 to 80, maybe not quite old, I'm not too sure, but he's a retired copper, and I was chatting with him earlier about it, and he worked for the police service, and I said to him about, well, they've become a police farce, they're now the police farce, and I said, we have to look at the word force. The word force means to injure and harm someone. You're going to use force to make someone bow down to you. I don't know, guys, before I disappear, I personally think that this country is on a precipice of 1930s Germany. And it needs to be pretty clever and switched on in the direction that we go. Because if we let this slip, there'll be no coming back. And I don't want to sound like I'm putting fear in people or trying to make people do things against their wish or their will. But let me tell you, this guy died 2 weeks ago in custody in Tunbridge Police Station. Now, I know that any IPCC investigation is going to come up that it was his own fault. We have people dying in custody that never get justice. No officer ever goes to prison. No constable ever goes to prison. It's a boys' club, and we ain't in it. And I think it's dangerous. I see the police now as a standing army, and it is a parliamentarian's army. It's certainly not the Queen's army. And these people in Parliament, all 650 of them, think they wear the crown. But they don't wear the crown. We wear the crown. So we're in very funny times, and the future, I guess, will be what the future brings. But I think I'm pretty confident that people in this country now are saying, oh, hello, because look at what's going on. We're getting people, acid attacks, people run over in pavements, in cars, vans. Government's first duty is to protect the people. They failed. Absolutely failed. Spectacularly as well, because they've taken their eye off the prize. They're not looking after people. They're beating people up, and it bothers me that I even have to talk about this, because it's something that we should never. They're the only public service that's got out of line and gone tyrannous. The NHS hasn't gone tyrannous. The fire brigade hasn't gone tyrannous. The doctors' surgeries haven't gone tyrannous. The only ones that are beating us and claiming some kind of ownership over us is the police farce. And I now call them the Mr.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough. What a great show this has been tonight, and we've had tons and tons of reaction in the chat room as well, and people getting in contact. Dave, it's absolutely superb to have you on. We're going to have you on again very soon. I turned an hour show into like nearly a 2-hour show, so that just shows you what sort of response we've had, and the people in the chat room as well don't even want us to stop, but unfortunately we're going to have to for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night. I've got Colin Worrell on. Where can people find you, Dave? Again, on Facebook. Dave Witcher, that's DAVEWITCHER. That's on Facebook. Find him there. We've got Colin Worrell on tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about corruption in Hull City Council, which is not too far from me, and all the stuff that's going on over there. Thank you very much to everybody for listening this evening. It's been absolutely superb. I've got a big thank you to you, Dave, as well. We'll have you back on soon. It's just been magic talking to you.
Thanks, Jace. Thanks, Andy. It's always a pleasure. And remember, before I go, when I stand up for my rights, I stand up for your rights. I'll see you soon.
Exactly. Yeah, of course you do. What a brilliant warrior you are. Thank you very much to Andy for producing for me tonight. It's again big pleasure for to just to have Andy. I mean, he's like probably my best mate at the moment. But we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Dave. And we'll see you tomorrow night with Colin Worrell. And bye from Raconteurs Too.
Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. I could be all spiritual and maybe even lyrical. I could spin a rhyme that you would think hysterical. With wit and a riff I could articulate exactly how it's possible to postulate. The police, they will fuck you up with ease if not held accountable for their deeds. Now don't imagine they're the good guys, please. Come on everybody, sing with me. Fuck the police. When they bust me for weed. Fuck the police. When they beat me up for no need. When they're beating up protesters. When they're rounding up dissenters. For the crimes they invented. For the people they protected. When they're covering up lies. When the government spies. When they're reading my mail. For the terrorist fairy tales. When they're working as the arm of the state. When they're racist and they're protecting hate. When they're thugs and scum, they shoot you in the face. And they target you just because of your race. Anywhere they support a monarchy. Anywhere they presume you're guilty. Anywhere they prop up a tyranny. Wherever they impose a rule. When the politicians use them as a tool. I don't imagine that they're good guys, please. Come on everybody, sing with me. Fuck the police. 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 When they bust me for weed. When they beat me up for no need. When they're beating up protesters. When they're rounding up dissenters. For the crimes they invented. For the people they protected. When they're covering up lies. When the government spies. When they're reading my mail. For the terrorist fairy tale. When they listen to my phone calls. When they fuck you up for no cause. When they beat me up for no need. When they bust me for smoking weed. When they're reading my mail like a government spy. When they're lying scum and they're covering up lies. When they're hassling and dissenters. When they're locking up old protesters. When they're working as the arm of the state. When they're racist and they're protecting hate. When they're thugs and scum, they shoot you in the face. When they target you just because of your race. Anywhere they support a monarchy. Anywhere they presume you're guilty. Anywhere they prop up a tyranny. Wherever they impose a rule. When when the politicians use them as a tool. I don't imagine that the good guys please. Come on everybody, sing with me.
Fuck the police.